Make time for the life Artois.
Refresh your home with the help of Living Spaces and get everything you need fast with free shipping. Upgrade your style and enjoy a quick and easy makeover with our wide variety of in-stock collections that are available for free next-day delivery. From your living room and dining room to your bedrooms and office, every space deserves a new furniture piece here and a chic accessory there. Discover the designs you love and we'll ship them for free. Only at Living Spaces and livingspaces.com.
Living Spaces.
Free is our favorite word. Like kids eat free.
This place is fire.
At Morgan & Morgan, our fee is free. You don't pay anything unless we win your case.
All right, cool.
Injured? Call Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.
No one covers Hollywood's biggest night like we do.
We are live from the Oscars.
Live from the Oscars, Sunday at 1 p.m. on Ktla 5.
Putin is getting exactly the opposite what he intended to have as a consequence of going into Ukraine.
Right now at 5, nations united against a month-long massacre. President Biden standing shoulder to shoulder with world leaders pushing new punishments for Putin as Ukrainians battle to take back their country. Is the tide finally turning?
I'm not angry, I'm more hurt than anything. I just need you guys to turn yourselves in.
New surveillance video shows her son moments before he's stabbed to death walking home in South LA. How police are hoping to heat up the search for clues in this senseless killing.
Where we really do want to get the subject off the streets because it's pretty clear that he can be violent without being provoked.
Cameras capture chaos shatter the common quiet in one SoCal library. A suspect seen sucker punching a worker in front of frightened children. Who police want off the streets? The news at 5 starts right now. This is the KTLA 5 News at 5. I'm Pedro Rivera.
And I am Lou Parker. I know, I'm super excited. I'm sitting in for Cher Calvin this afternoon, so we're super happy to be here. You and I see each other almost every day on the tees, but now we're actually together.
Tees ahead to the 5 o'clock, but now you're sitting next to me. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, let's get to it. All right, we begin with President Biden and other world leaders. They met for an emergency NATO summit to address Russia's devastating month-long invasion of Ukraine.
They promised more sanctions and more military and humanitarian aid. That's in the face of fear Russia could launch, ready to launch at least, chemical and nuclear weapons. Now, at a news conference, President Biden said NATO has never been more united, while Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned Russia does not intend to stop its war in his country. Meantime, the overmatched Ukrainian military destroyed a Russian naval ship and parked helicopters in the south, and it continues to inflict heavy damage on Russian forces near Kyiv, the capital.
And we do have team coverage of the devastation. Let's get right to Kimberly Chang. She's live from the KTLA News Center with today's developments. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi. Entering into the second month of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Ukraine's president is urging NATO to send more military equipment, including planes, tanks, and rockets. Meanwhile, President Biden announced additional sanctions against Russia. Under relentless Russian attacks, Ukrainians are pushing back on several fronts. Take a look at this footage. Ukraine's Navy said a Russian landing craft was destroyed in Berdyansk. Video showed the ship gutted and in flames. The Russian military had been using it to supply its forces. This video, which hasn't been independently verified, is circulating on social media with a claim that a Russian tank was obliterated. President Biden arrived in Brussels, Belgium. World leaders opened a trio of emergency summits. At a news conference, the president said the U.S. and NATO would respond if Russia uses chemical weapons in Ukraine.
The nature of the response would depend on the nature of the use.
The president announced the U.S. would welcome 100,000 Ukrainian refugees and provide an additional $1 billion in food, medicine, water, and supplies. Biden also said a new round of sanctions would target state-owned defense companies and oligarchs and said Russia should be removed from the G20. As far as concern over China's involvement, Biden reiterated that China's president knows the consequences of aiding Russia.
China understands that its economic future is much more closely tied to the West than it is to Russia.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is urging NATO for more support, including military equipment.
The war of Russia is not only the war against Ukraine. Its meaning is much wider.
In Mariupol, evacuees say the city doesn't exist anymore. Zelensky said 100,000 people remain trapped in inhumane conditions.
I don't think we're committing war crimes in Ukraine.
In an interview, a senior Russian diplomat denied that Russian forces target civilians and talked about the possibility that his country would use nuclear weapons if provoked by NATO.
When you're dealing with a nuclear power, of course you have to calculate all the possible outcomes of your behavior.
Meanwhile, Russia has also reportedly blocked Google News, claiming it's spreading false information.
Some Americans are criticizing President Biden over his handling of Russia's war with Ukraine. What exactly are they saying?
Yeah, Pedro, while the president met with key allies in Brussels to coordinate a stronger response, a new poll shows only 43% of Americans approve of Biden and his handling of his relationship with Russia. This is according to a poll from Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. Few are confident he can handle a crisis, and a majority, 53%, thinks he hasn't been tough enough in his response to Russia. The poll also shows that Democrats are closely divided over the president's response. We'll have more on that in the next hour.
All right, Kimberly, thank you. And after meetings in